Mama Doris.
Hey.
And today we are going to talk to you about some amazing things because we want to help people. And then we also want to help support Mama Doris. But the reason that we're here is because, one, I really, really love her. And she needs a kidney. So we are going to spread awareness about kidney disease. We're also going to put out some information to support Mama Doris in this search and manifest some amazing things. So with that being said, you ready?
I think I'm ready.
Okay, so the other day we were talking and you were like, I think everyone should treat themselves like a newborn baby. Mm-hmm. And we know that, me and my doula background and you and your L&D background, we love the babies. Mm-hmm. And so when you said that, I knew it was bigger than just that idea, like, okay, babies are special or they're, need to be really cared for, looked after. But you were talking about as adults, like growing up and growing old.
Benjamin Button.
Yes.
Benjamin Button.
So yeah, why'd you say that and what does it mean and like what are you recommending that we do?
Right. So in just life in general, like I was telling Alex, it's when we have newborns, the majority of parents have this baby and it's just the most precious thing on earth. The most precious, just so innocent, so loving. If you've seen a newborn being born, and that's what I've done all my life, many years I should say, it's a miracle every time. Every time it's something special, and you can appreciate that.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh my God, and you want to, and we look at the parents and like, ooh, you kind of you can't help but to have a judgment based on appearances, but it doesn't matter what they look like when they see their baby and they're holding their baby. It's just like, oh my God, the love that you have for them. You know that they're going to be protected and cared for and fed, and you would do anything to protect that baby. But then that child begins to grow up and they learn, their own little skills throughout development, childhood development, and their teenage years, and they become adults and they go on through life. But then at some point, you'll still as a parent, you worry about that child because as that child grows older and you get older, you start experiencing things, whether it's, diabetes, high blood pressure, stress, anxiety. We all have something. Life itself throws so many things at you. You have something, and you fear for your children, but your children are still, they're young. Oh, nothing's going to happen, blah, 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 blah. And so then on the flip side of that, they start getting older, but you're getting older. And you're thinking, okay, we're worried, we're trying to continue to educate our children on taking care of themselves. Self-care is such a big deal nowadays. Right. Back then it was just like work to try to just provide and keep food on your table and a roof over your house. And you didn't worry so much about your health. Now today we're very conscious because the better you take care of yourself, the longer you have the longer your lifespan. In general, most cases. But as we get older, if we aren't able to take care of ourselves, say you have multiple children, a single family household, debt, which we can all appreciate, bills are going to be there, taxes are going to be there. You really have to just continue to work so hard. And it's nice to say self-care, and taking time out to do those walks and going to get massages and meditating and reading a book or enjoying a movie or taking a vacation. How often do you really get to do that?
Right.
It takes finances a lot of the times to be able to take a vacation, go to the spa. Right. I don't know of any free spas. There are some workshops, but not free spas. Right. So you have to continue to work, and so when you get caught up on working and bills and all of that, and your children are still growing now, and they're going on about their lives, you kind of get into this point of your life where you have needs, just as you did when you were a child. My daughter often calls me and says, "Mom, did you eat today?" And it's different for me because I'm dealing with something. So it's like, not yet, but I'll get to it. And I'm so worried about other things that are going on in my life. There are some days that I truly forget to, it's like, did I eat this morning? Let me go and try to, pound something down before I go to bed so I can say I ate today, because weight is an issue with my disease process. Getting to the doctors, currently it's a challenge because I'm having other issues with my disease process, that I'm not walking like I used to. I feel very faint and fatigued, and I'm scared to drive. I don't want to be the cause of somebody else's death or injury on the road, because I have issues going on with me, and I don't have someone to take me to these appointments, which are over an hour away sometimes. So, it's that. So it's caring for, but we take our children to the pediatrician. We make sure that they're feeding themselves, even if they don't say they're hungry. Here's a snack.
Right.
If you don't have someone that's constantly there with you to help oversee that when you're going through something, you're on the flip side of that. That's that Benjamin Button effect. So now I fear since I have this condition, that as I'm progressing, which it is rapidly changing, because as you noticed over the past year and a half, I've lost over 40 pounds. I'm not the person that I used to be, that works 6 days a week, double shift, 16 hours, making all the money. It's now I'm at home for 6 months, and I'm just watching myself kind of deteriorate, and it's nothing I can do about it. And I don't want to stress my people out, the people in my circle out. But in the reality of it is that I also get frustrated because I was born into a family, and I want my family to be here to help take care of me, just like I was there to take care of my newborn, and I had lots of support. People were always, do you need? Yeah. But when you get older, you have less of that. It's like people, when you have a baby, everybody's there. You need diapers, formula, clothes. Oh, we want to see the baby. It's just a beautiful thing. People make trips to come see the new babies, especially the first babies, the second babies. But when you get older, it's the phone calls. And are you taking care of stuff? And so we tend to have some of the same needs as a newborn, It will get to a point that, maybe I'll have to get into diapers. I don't know. But as you know, the geriatric population or the elderly population, they get to the point where there's incontinence. And, they have to be woke up at night to go to the bathroom. So the same things that you did for a newborn, you have to do for an older person or the aging population. And I feel that that's where there's the disconnect. To make that short. And we have to all remember, and I'm on social media trolling a lot because, I have time on my hands. There's a lot of criticism about the middle-aged person. I'm at the middle age, so-called middle age. I don't know why we say middle age, because that would say that I would live to be 100. I'm 50. Over 50. I'm 53. I'm proud of it. So I don't consider myself middle age. I feel like I'm an older person, but in my heart and in my mind, I feel really young and youthful. If I wasn't struggling with this fatigue and some of the things that I'm going through right now, I would be out working and doing all of the normal things that I would do. It would not be a problem. I've never been able to take off this much time because just of the person that I am. Kidney disease is a horrible thing when you're not of the elder population. And I'm sure for them, it is also the same. I can only speak for me. I was 33. No, I was not. I was 28 when I first found out I had hypertension. I was 31 when I found out I had kidney disease. And then I had a hypertensive crisis and found out I was born with one kidney through an ultrasound. So I have left renal agenesis. So I was only born with my right kidney. and that kidney has focal segmental glomerulosclerosis, means there is scarring of the glomeruli, which are the filtration tubes in your kidney.
Yes.
Focal meaning one section of it. But what happens is it sclerosis, it hardens over time. And then there's no filtration through it. You dump a lot of protein in your urine. You know, some people dump protein and they lose all of, you know, their albumin and good stuff that we're supposed to keep in our blood. It spills over into the urine, and then there's swelling and all of that. I don't have the swelling. I have the terrible weight loss. But then sometimes I think when I was heavier and looking cute, I think that was swelling. It wasn't on it wasn't muscle, because I wasn't working out. So I think that may have been a part of what was going on, but I ignored it because I was going on with my everyday life to make sure, you know, like I said, everybody's going to school, everybody's being taken care of. I'm taking care of everybody else, and I'm not taking care of myself. So I might have missed that throughout those years. And so here we are, fast forward now, after 14 years after my first kidney transplant, I'm needing one again. Not that I was living a bad lifestyle, but I just worked. You know, I worked, and I didn't so much have the time to focus on those things to take care of myself. And now I'm at the point that I feel my condition makes me feel like I'm in a state, well, basically it's end-stage kidney disease. So I'm in kidney failure, renal failure, CDK5, and I have those similar needs and feelings like I did when I was younger or as a child, you know, and I don't have those. My great-grandparents have since deceased, so I don't have that, you know, those elders to look up to. Other family members, just not close. My daughter, I'm wearing her out. I have you all the time. I call, but you don't want to stress out your support system for minutia, things that you think, oh, you know, I don't want to worry people about that. You know, it's just not that important. I need to get over it. Or you're that strong person. It's just like, I can do it. You know, I can get through this. I just need to, you know, take a walk or go to sleep and wake up and it'll be better. It's not, because it's still there festering. And you need people around you. You know, I mean, a hug, a touch is so important sometimes because I feel isolated. You know, whereas, like I said, with a newborn, you're always picking them up, hugging them, making sure it's okay. When I hurt myself around here, you know, I don't have anybody say, oh my God, I hurt my ankle. It's like, okay, bitch, wrap it up. Go in there and go fix yourself something to eat because, you know, boo-hoo, nobody's listening. Or email your doctor. But that's the Benjamin Button effect that I'm talking about. That makes sense. Sorry, that was long. No, that makes sense. I'm gonna figure it out in the back. Okay.
And so the next thing I want to, you know about, or what would you say if you were trying to tell people like, hey, you know, take care of yourself, and these are ways to take care of your kidneys, as a nurse, as someone who has a nurse background and worked in healthcare, and see what causes people to come in or have these kinds of disease processes or things that we don't do self-care wise that can lead to these issues. So me now working in this dialysis clinic, which I would have never thought I would ever be in this field ever, was definitely not interested, and then got the opportunity, and then was like, my spirit's like, well, you should take it. So then I took it, and so I've only been there a couple of weeks, but just learning so much about it, it created this like passion, but also seeing who's there, you know. And I talked to my grandparents about this. I'm like, okay, so most of the people who are here because of high blood pressure and diabetes, and I think people who deal with diabetes don't think that much into their kidneys and how that could affect them. But I tell my grandparents, like, when you have high blood sugar, your blood is thicker. Think of your blood as thick. Then when it goes into your kidneys to be filtered out, well, now you're popping blood vessels in your kidneys because your blood is too thick. And kidney vessels are very, very tiny. And so what are some things that you know about that could be prevented or that lead to this type of issue, and what would you recommend?
Stress is a killer. Okay?
Stress is a killer.
Stress. You don't think about it. And I'm going to say even prior to nursing, when I first joined the military, I was just a private E1 soldier trying to figure out life at 19 years old. That didn't know anything. The stress. I had a son though. I had my son. A couple years after I was in the military, I had my daughter. Again, I got married, but we were both in the military, and just being away at work all day, all night, on missions and stuff. We were in the 82nd. Just doing things, and then being young, so it's always the stress of, are the kids going to be okay? You can't do certain things because you have children, plus you have the job, which the job had to come first at that time, and you had to figure it out. So the kids were bounced from here to here to here, making sure that they were in a safe place while we were out doing our job and serving our country. So as a young person, you tend to just go on with life and you don't think about it. Whereas now this generation has changed. We talk so much about self-care and taking care of yourselves. It's like at the forefront of, just living.
Right.
Like, self-care, baby.
They be like, self-care, and it's like, if you don't have any money, then people think that then they can't do the self-care.
But you can. It's free to meditate.
Yes.
It's free to take a walk. In certain areas, you want to be safe. Just kidding. But to take a walk, to turn your phone off. And just dedicate some time to you. What do you want to do? There are many times that I sit down and I want to, do some work, or I want to read a book, or I want to meditate, and my phone starts ringing.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're nonsense, they're spam calls, and sometimes just people calling to check.
That's something I struggle with too.
Turn it off. It's okay. You don't have to have it. Finding someone you can talk to that's a good listener. Because you want to be able to get out your expressions. That is so healthy instead of keeping everything bottled up. But you have to find someone that's a good listener, not someone that's going to fix your problem. Sometimes you don't need your problem fixed. You just need to get it off your chest and be like, whoo, okay, wow,
now I'm ready to go.
I'm ready to go. So finding someone to actively listen, and then being able to just sit down and be quiet. These are free things that you can do.
Okay, so one of the things I want to add about self-care is your environment. So I will show you guys some of the, decorations of Mama Doris's house. But it's so peaceful and like serene in here. And when I lived with you last year, this was last year?
Last year, boo.
I lived with her last year. I didn't have, it was crazy. It was a time.
New grad.
Yeah. So I stayed with her, like I came to dog sit, and then I was like, hey, do you think I can stay longer? Like, please? But I was able to get so much done here as far as reflection and relaxation, and then also just like reset myself. And so environment is a really big part of self-care for me, because I didn't know how important it was until I came here to your house. And I heard this. Nothing. Like, it was something in the silence. It was so loud and uncomfortable at first. But like, just turning your phone off. Sometimes turning your phone off, it's like, oh baby, because what if I missed this, and ooh, and who, what about? And it's like, none of it really, it doesn't matter.
Voicemail.
You can leave a voicemail. If it's that important, leave a voicemail. So environment and journaling are my like self-care. And now having plants, I'm gonna get some plants today. And I'm really excited about that. But so we want to encourage you all to do actual self-care, to actually feel your heart rate and start to breathe slower so that you can slow your heart rate down, and feel your body and sit in it and see and listen to it, because that's what's been helping me in moving my mind out of what I would call the gutter of the darkness, and just like living in there and moving in and building a tent and saying, I'm just gonna sit here in the dark. But then, like we talked about the other day, you've been doing some things to try to, keep yourself positive, keep yourself trying to like, okay, there's still hope. The light is there. I can see a glimpse of it, and I think that's what kind of this is about.
And then let me be real.
Mm-hmm.
The struggle is real.
The struggle is real.
I mean, no one walks in euphoria or bliss. You try to get there, and if you can, at times, it's wonderful. Aromatherapy, candles are my outlet. I love to burn beautiful candles and aromatherapy. Now it's hard to deal with fragrances because the nausea at this stage is just so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Depression is a real thing. There's a stigma, a stereotype around depression. Hey baby, when you have cancer, you know what you're dealing with. It's right there. It's coming at you. And you get on it aggressively. When you have end-stage kidney failure, based on what my symptoms are, based on my condition, which is FSGS, focal segmental glomerulosclerosis, it happens over time. But once that kidney, mine started failing last year, and they said without a kidney transplant or without hemodialysis, you will die in a year and a half. That was 1 year ago. I still don't have a port. I have to go for an evaluation. In the past, I was not able to do so, to have one with my first kidney transplant. And I was so blessed to get a kidney pretty quickly. The people in the community, I have to give a shout out to them in North Carolina that did a great job. Tia and Audrey, I appreciate you still to this day. So I was able to get a kidney, but this time, I don't know. I've had so many surgeries previously and in cardiovascular disease, so it makes it very challenging this time to get that port built in. But we will see another doctor to see if they will be willing to do it, if that is the situation. I have not, again, started dialysis. I don't have a port yet. I've been maintaining through an alkaline diet, 90% alkaline diet. Not so much exercise because I don't have the energy for exercise. I do walk my dog every day. So those are things that you have to do. Lab tests, I get those every month. So you'll have to get stuck every month for lab tests and keeping in touch with your nephrologist. I also have a hematologist. I have a transplant team. I have a social worker. And then the big kick is also I have a nurse practitioner that's with palliative care. Even though I don't have cancer, when people say palliative care, it's end of life preparation. And they started that back in December when they thought I had multiple myeloma. So I had to go through a lot, and that's a whole different series. You start talking about advanced directives and end of life planning, and if you're not prepared for that conversation, which I have not been up until recently, and that's when I just started doing it. It's a lot to wrap yourself around if you don't have a good support system. And I mean, you know, people care and they're concerned, but to talk about planning your death in advance, and you can see it coming, and it's coming fast, it's like, oh my God, am I going to get a transplant before, you know, I'm out of here? Or if they can't do, or do I really want dialysis? You know, because right now, I have a decent quality of life, but not the quality of life I'm used to.
Right.
If I can't go back to work and I can't take care of myself, I become a burden on who's left around me. You, my daughter, basically that's it. And she has a family now. So it's like, who's going to help support me throughout all of this without burning them out, and they have to live their lives too. So then you have to make a decision, is it going to be worth it? And that's what I struggle with. That's the real. Because some days I'm like, no, you know, I've watched my kids grow up, and, you know, I have a son, I have a daughter and a son, and they're adults, and my daughter has children, and they finished school, and they're okay. What's left for me? And do I need to continue down this path, or can this kidney, if there's one for me, go to a younger person who has a family and they're starting off and they need support? But Then other days I'm like, God, I want to see my grandbabies grow up, and maybe there are more people and my work's not done yet. So, you know, it's like, then I want to continue on. But in preparation for, you know, the inevitable that we all have to pass away one day, then you have to get your stuff in order as well, you know. So finding out who that person is going to be to take on, you know,
those types of responsibilities.
The hard responsibilities of burying their loved one. So, and we've had that conversation recently.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's big.
It's deep. It's deep.
Okay.
It's something.
So, I'm gonna put the information on the screen. So if anybody would like to reach out and assist us in this journey to give Mama Doris an opportunity to stick around, okay, this is what this is about. So I'll put all the information on the screen. I'll also put the links and the phone number for organ donation in the description, and if you're seeing this on Facebook, it'll be somewhere in there. We also have a QR code that you could check out. So may the Lord bless you and keep you.